Hey there, ladies. It's Valerie. Hope you're all doing well. I have some exciting news, and I just wanted to share everything with you. Let me just show you the mess that I've got laid out here. I don't know how to show you guys because the camera's kind of backwards, but that's a lot of paperwork from my previous OBGYN and also some from this new one that I saw today. So I had a consult with an OBGYN who specializes in fertility. He's not a specialist, but he does specialize in working with fertility patients. So this is wonderful because a lot of you know that I've been feeling really just unhappy at the office that I've been at, and I just wanted to get some clarification, some kind of a second opinion on the path that we're taking and the tests that we've had done. And I know that the doctor that I have been seeing, I trusted her, in her skills as far as she was the one who performed our DNC back in January. So I absolutely trust her there as a surgeon. I also trust her as an OBGYN. However, when it comes to fertility treatments and the likes of ovulation and pregnancy, I just don't know that she is necessarily the best fit for us. So thankfully, the practice that I was with back in January when we found out about the miscarriage, I had called them back and expressed an interest in coming in and seeing somebody for fertility reasons, and they did suggest and recommend a doctor in their practice who specifically dealt with that, which I didn't realize at the time that they even had anybody like that. So I received a letter. Oh, I meant to bring that up. I received a letter from them after I had scheduled that appointment, saying that these are the charges for fertility treatments, and based on insurances, you have to pay up front because a lot of insurance doesn't cover infertility, and ours certainly does not. Our insurance covers anything up to establishing fertility, and then once it's beyond that point, as far as like infertility treatments and medications and things, it will not. So my HSG was covered, the semen analysis was covered, the SIS ultrasound, all of the tests really that I've had done have been covered because at this point it's just up to establishing fertility, which is wonderful. We've still had to pay quite a bit out of pocket. Our insurance pays, I think it's like an 80-20 type split, so we still have to pay for a little bit of it. But anyway, this doctor was wonderful. I'll get to the point. He was absolutely wonderful, and I felt really, really just great about meeting with him. And what I was going to say about receiving that sheet of payment information is that originally we thought that we were going to have to cancel our appointment because it was going to be $250 for our initial fertility consult, and we were not going to be able to just pay that out of pocket right at this moment. We're hosting Thanksgiving for our family here, and that extra $250 is really going to be critical for just there's things that we have coming up that we've allotted money for. So I had actually called to cancel this appointment, and the lady told me, no, you're not going to have to pay that. You're just going to have to pay the $20 copay. So I said, okay, well, great. So I was a little hesitant, even today, but then I woke up this morning, and I just felt really excited to talk to him, and it just went awesome. So I was immediately, one of the nurses took me back. Well, not immediately. It was about 30 minutes after my appointment time, but it's to be expected. So well, not 30 minutes after, maybe 10 minutes after. It was 30 minutes after before we actually saw the doctor, but we were taken back, and one of the doctor's nurses, took me into the room, and instead of like at the other practice, she would take me in and just kind of jot down my last menstrual period, and that was it. This girl asked what I was here for, and had asked me about some of my charts because I brought the charts and I brought a lot of my paperwork and some of my medical history. So she'd asked me all about that, and she was actually really knowledgeable. I felt like she was a little bit cocky, almost to the point of being rude. However, she did know her stuff, and now if she had been, kind of an airhead or something and still cocky and rude, I may have been a little bit more put off, but it was what it was, and she did a great job. So she took my paperwork and made copies for the doctor, and then the doctor finally came in, and he was really impressed by all that, all of my knowledge on what I can help, what I can attribute largely to the YouTube community helping me, with some of that stuff. And also, I would recommend Fertility Friend to anybody as far as charting goes and learning about your the follicular phase, the luteal phase, all of the different phases. And this video is already going long. I apologize, but this will probably be a longer one. Fertility Friend has like 20 tutorial lessons, and it covers just the basics to the more in-depth, all sorts of charting. One thing I was a little bit put off by in the very beginning is when I mentioned my charts to this nurse, and she said, "Oh, we don't really do the charts here," which I was a little bit, put off by, because at my other doctors we did, she very much was interested in the charts. And I feel that it is a very, very much a diagnostic tool, but I'm guessing the reason why, and she did say that they do the OPKs as opposed to the charts, which again, I think OPKs as a combination with the charts are wonderful. OPKs on their own without temping, again, you don't actually know if you've ovulated yet. You can absolutely receive a positive OPK and an LH surge, and then your body gear up but not ovulate. So the only way to really confirm that is by your temperature shift. So the doctor came in, and I wish I would have recorded it. I mean, I don't even know where to start, but we covered everything, all of my questions. He did look at my charts, and he'd asked me about the PCOS diagnosis, and my AMH levels are very high, so it's one of the centers that I'd gone to did it, and it was 7.4. Anything above about a 5 nanograms per mil, I believe, is considered high, and it's considered indicative of polycystic ovarian syndrome and anovulation. So again, as soon as I got those words out of my mouth, even though my ultrasound looks good, that high ovarian reserve is likely due to anovulation. So this is my chart from last month. This is my last cycle. This is my metformin cycle. And this is like a textbook. I mean, the doctor did look at these, and, he's like, this is like a textbook biphasic curve with a very large dip at the ovulation date, and then, your progesterone is like a bell curve. So it'll start out very slow and then kind of increase and peak around that 7 DPO mark, which is why when you are on Clomid or when checking for ovulation, you should have, once you receive a positive ovulation predictor kit or a shift like this, you should have your blood work scheduled, 8 days after you see that shift, so technically 7 days past ovulation. So the progesterone causes this temperature to rise, and it peaks around this 7 DPO point. And then it'll, again, if you don't conceive, then it will go down. Depending on your luteal phase length, you may see a more gradual or a more rapid decline in this. I have a little bit of a longer luteal phase, so mine kind of lasts a little bit longer. So again, I had no doubts that last month I had ovulated. Well, this month, when I had gone in for my cycle day 21 checkup at my previous doctor, she, let's see, they did check my blood and my progesterone level, which I told her I didn't think was really the best idea, because again, like I just showed you, that progesterone is a bell curve. So when I went to her office, I was only on cycle day 21. I had just seen my first temperature spike, and that was that was only, let me just show you, that was only right here, this very first temperature spike, and I was only 3 days past ovulation. So of course, when my progesterone came back at a 6.9, even though I had told her, she writes here on my little form, probably did not ovulate. That's probably backwards for you guys, sorry. But she writes probably did not ovulate, and she wanted to up the Clomid the next cycle, if I wasn't, pregnant this time, obviously. So, again, I know that her, that she was wrong, and the doctor today, looked at, this is my chart for this month, and he said that, that absolutely is an ovulatory chart. So, you can see, my temps are kind of crazy, but you can see that, these are right around, primarily like 97.9 is typically where my pre-ovulatory temperatures sit, and then after that it's usually like 98.34. So so again, you're looking for a general shift, and there's definitely a general shift there. So I'm currently on cycle day 31, 13 days past ovulation. I have taken pregnancy tests and they've been negative. So, I'm expecting to start my period in any day now. The doctor today advised me that if I had not started by the cycle day 35, that I should take 10 milligrams of Provera and take it for 10 days to start my cycle. I probably will wait a little bit longer than 35 days just because I feel like I will start on my own, and I haven't had problems starting on my own before with ovulatory cycles that I know of. And obviously I did have that one really long cycle a few months ago, but I'm very hopeful that I will start. I don't feel pregnant. The only thing that I've noticed this cycle that's different is my breasts have been a little bit sore, which I don't normally have. I guess I have it to some extent, but this cycle I've just noticed it on certain days a little bit more than I normally would. However, I think that I did notice that last month, and it could just be, a combination of the medicine that I'm on and the progesterone and, the Clomid. I'm not taking any progesterone, supplements or anything, but that is one of the things that this particular doctor did mention, that we would keep a close eye on as well. He agreed with me that cycle day 3 blood work and ultrasound should absolutely be done before Clomid, to check for cysts or any sort of enlargement of the ovaries as a response to the Clomid, that it could be hyperstimulation. So he absolutely agreed. As far as the Clomid days 3 to 7 versus 5 through 9, again, he did address my question, but he did say that it's really just a matter of whatever preference you have. And he said normally with letrozole, which is the generic for Femera, that he will typically prescribe that for days 3 through 7. But for Clomid, he said the majority of the studies have been on cycle days 5 through 9, and sometimes doctors might prescribe Clomid for days 3 through 7 to get you to ovulate a little bit earlier if you're not, if the 5 through 9 like mine has, and you've been ovulating a little bit later. But he said it really wasn't a concern. And again, if the doctor is on board with you, that they should listen to you because you know your body, and they should do the blood work 7 days past when you think you ovulated. So again, he was right in line with that. And I didn't just like him because he was right in line with me either. He was very knowledgeable, very reassuring, he very much validated, my feelings, and not just my feelings, but my knowledge of everything. And I can't stress enough to you how important it is, and I know that other girls on here have stressed it, how important it is to know your body, to know your stuff. If you're going through this, if you're having trouble trying to conceive, absolutely know what you're going through, know what your body is, research it. I know that a lot of people think that, Googling things is crazy, but honestly, it is a wealth of information. And if you read enough and build enough of your library, you will come across reputable information, reputable studies, and a lot of the YouTubes I watch are absolutely reputable information from wonderful women, so who've been through it and who know. I mean, we talk to our doctors enough. I did ask him about how results are handled. I told him that I've had problems before getting results back, and obviously I'm very inquisitive and want to know. And he said he absolutely will tell his patients if they haven't heard from him within a week to give him a call. He said that, normally when your cycle day 3 blood work is done, it should be ready by cycle day 5, and you should know that information. So I felt really good about that. All of our stuff looks good. He said at this point it's just a matter of basically catching the egg. So I am having ovulatory cycles, which is great. It's just, we need to just keep doing what we're doing. I know that every couple has about a 20% chance per month of conceiving. With PCOS, he said that it does make it more difficult to carry a pregnancy to term, which is a little bit disheartening. I had expressed to him my, again, my frustrations with the other office, and then he mentioned, well, you also seemed to not like the other doctor that I had seen at his practice back in January when I had the miscarriage, and he kind of did a look and just kind of laughed, and I was like, well, actually, I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because the reason I left that practice, even though I liked it a lot, was because when we went in for our 8-week ultrasound and we saw that there was no baby, that the doctor immediately, said, we need to get you in for a DNC. I know that this is, New Year, you have New Year's Eve plans, but we can get you in, and, and it was just too much. It was just way too much to take at once, and he understood that. Once I expressed that to him, that it wasn't just I was like doctor hopping because I wasn't happy. I was absolutely happy with the practice before. I really, really liked the doctor that I had before at this practice. But again, that rubbed me the wrong way. And he absolutely agreed that he would never put anybody on the spot right then to get a surgery scheduled like that. And he would always want you, to present the options to you and to have you, sleep on that decision first. So again, I think that he very much comes from a good place, and he knows what he's doing. I feel really good about it. They gave me this infertility information sheet, which he's like, yeah, everything on this anyway, but we're going to give it to you. Again, they recommend that you use the ovulation predictor kits and that you use the clear blue digital ones, because again, they really are the most clear. And have really helped me to learn to detect it. I feel like I could use regular, just line, the cheapy ones, which I still do use them in concordance with the clear blues. But they do recommend those, and they say, you'll have a progesterone level drawn 8 days later to see if your positive LH surge confirms you have in fact ovulated. Can't speak. And then if you haven't had a positive ovulation by day 20, to discontinue the testing and to call the office. It talks about timed intercourse, to have intercourse on every other day, days 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. So you're pretty much, again, guaranteed the best chances. And then it just discusses the HSG semen analysis, which you've already had, and also the Clomid prescriptions, which we're on. He did say, again, I am a thin PCOSer, so he said that it is more difficult because obviously women who do have weight to lose can usually lose that weight and get pregnant. He said it's a little bit more difficult for us thin folks, and we definitely don't want to lose weight. And I told him the problem with mine that I've been having with the metformin is that I feel like I don't have any appetite. My husband loves to cook, and we always have great food and healthy food and lots of protein, and we don't eat junk food. We eat lots of lots of meats and veggies, and we drink tons of water. But again, it kind of just makes me not have an appetite at all. So he said he wants me on 1,000 milligrams of metformin as opposed to the 1,500. And he also wants, based on my chart that I showed you guys, I am responding to 50 milligrams of Clomid. So he does want to keep me on 50 milligrams as opposed to that 100 milligrams that my other doctor wanted me to go on, because she thought that I didn't ovulate, but clearly the progesterone shows that I did. So it's just kind of unfortunate that I didn't get really an accurate picture this month. But he did give me the cycle day 3 blood work forms. So just to let you know, and I know Renee Launderlife has mentioned this before, cycle day 3, you should have your estradiol levels, FSH and LH levels, glucose, maybe not glucose for everybody, but for me, I'm on metformin, so glucose levels need to be drawn. The HCG beta, a quant analysis done. I'm not exactly sure, why, but I guess in case maybe if you're experiencing bleeding that you might think is your period, but maybe you're really pregnant or something. Your prolactin levels, your testosterone for women or children, and also your TSH. They've also got additional testing on here the free T4, which I believe has to do with thyroid as well, and your TSH, DHEAs, insulin, let's see, maybe that's wrong, 17-OHP and AMH, which again, I've already had my AMH done, but they're doing it again anyway, so I have lots of AMH results. I think that was it, but I just, this is such a long video, I apologize, but that's where we are. I'm very, very hopeful for this next cycle. What we'll be doing is we will be, you know, finishing out this cycle. Hopefully I will start my period within the week, and if not get my BFP, of course, that would be obviously the best choice, but I'm not feeling like at this point that's going to happen, in all honesty. I'm just looking at this paper scattered around me. So yeah, we will be moving forward with a cycle day 3 blood work and ultrasound, and hope and pray that that turns out fine and that I don't have any cysts and we can move forward with the 50 milligrams of Clomid on days 5 through 9, and just continue to do what we've been doing. That's really all we can do, and I just feel very, very reassured to know that we are in good hands, and that this doctor, that he just has a lot of hope, and he has a plan, and I will discuss that in another video because this one is really long, and I've just been rambling about my stuff, and I have so much more that I'd like to talk about, so I'll do another video a little bit later. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all my subscriptions, and I hope that this has been informative to you in some way, at least. All right, thanks, girls. Thanks so much for your support. Bye.